I was appointed to be principal here at Rooftop in August. And when I came here, the first major problem that the parents and the community had was this was considered, the garden area was considered surplus land. And so there was a committee that came and to here because they were ready to sell this whole property off to, again, because of financial constraints within the district. And I looked at the property and I thought, what's going to happen here? And they were thinking of condominiums and building more apartments. Fortunately for me, Bob Anderson was on this committee. Bob Anderson used to be the principal of Marshall School, and he sat on this, he was the credentialed person that was on this committee, and he said, what are your plans for this plot of land? And I remembered that many years before, this used to be they used to have a natural spring that went here, and it was an ecological wonder. It was self-contained. So I thought, we need to bring that back because that would be a great learning environment for our students. So I said, I envisioned a garden here. And the compromise was that they would sell part of the land. So we got up to where the bushes are, and we got to keep the rest of the land. And I thank Bob Anderson personally for that, because he told the group, if Nancy says she'll do it, she will do it. Unfortunately, I was not as sure of myself as he was, but then I felt committed that we needed to do it. And fortunately, we started, and with all good intentions, what happened was we discovered it was bedrock. We had to get a jackhammer to begin this. And then we had a lot of parents who were really gardeners. I never realized how important gardening was to so many people. And so when we called for help, everybody came to help. We got at that time the Embarcadero Freeway was being broken down, so we had parents go and pick up the ties. We had one of the parents who was a plumber, and he said he'd do all the work, that he would provide the labor if we provided the parts. So we got the underground irrigation with the parents. So everything was parent-driven, and I think a few years ago I was visiting a school and found out there was a $10,000 grant, and I thought, oh my Lord, if we had $10,000, what we could have done. If you have a vision and you know where you want to go, all you need to do is find a group of people who believe with you, and then that becomes a project, and everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to work on a project, but everybody wants to make sure that if they do work on this project, it's going to be outstanding. And when I come to this garden today, it's hard to believe that it's still maintained. And I think gardens are great during the school year, but we do have summer vacations. And that's when you go to all the different schools and the garden's gone. It doesn't take much for a garden to disappear. And it's because of the commitment of the parents here that they have a schedule for people to come and water. They have schedules. They have schedules for cleanup. They have maintenance is key. Without the parent dedication to the importance of this garden for the student learning, I mean, I never knew there were worms. We bought worms to irrigate the land. I thought, oh my gosh. And then we bought cans to put our food in. I mean, what is that? I'm a city girl. And just to be able to come back and during lunch period and see students come into this Margaret Condon Amphitheater, because this also was built because Margaret Condon passed away very quickly.
And who was Margaret Condon?
Margaret Condon was the 5th grade teacher, and one day she went home and she had a stroke and she passed away. the 5th grade class was devastated, absolutely devastated. And they thought it was their fault when it really was not. And so we had to do a healing project. And I put a call out to the AIA to find an architect who would be willing to come and talk to our children about building a simple amphitheater, something that they could build, not something where we would have to hire somebody to come in, but where it was planned together with the students, and then the parents actually came and constructed this. So everything was done pro bono, and as a result, we have this, we have this amphitheater. We had a great architect, who, and I'm sorry to say I've forgotten his name, but he came and spent a half a year planning with the rest of the half year planning, and we had parents who took leadership, and 2 weekends and it was done. 2 weekends and it was done. This was a real
working project, yeah.
That the class needed to have. It was part of the healing process. And when that...
Is there a plaque anywhere to dedicate
no,
this?
And I've always wished that there would be a plaque.
Well, okay, if that's your wish, we'll have to make that happen.
And if that happens, I'd be happy to contribute to that monetarily, because I come and see how well it's used, and I would like to have Margaret Condon remembered. And I just assumed that everybody knew that this was Margaret Condon
I never knew.
Amphitheater.
I never knew.
And so, if that would be very important to her family and to the former Rooftop people, because she was dear to us as a colleague, and actually she passed away months before her retirement. She was scheduled to retire, so it was a double whammy for all of us here on staff, and for the students. So I come to the amphitheater, and I do think I can see Margaret with her white hair sitting here, and it brings back very fond memories of those youngsters and how hard they worked to design this amphitheater, and the parents who devoted 2 weekends, and one parent especially, who went and bought all the material and prepared it. It's wonderful to be here. And actually on Friday when I was here, there was a parent, I guess, who was involved in gardens elsewhere, and she had said, as marvelous as the other schools are, the problem is maintenance, and they do not survive. You know, they survive during the school year, but they have to, it's like, gardening is never over. There needs to be constant tending, and for that I really thank all the parents and all the staff who believe in the garden, that when we're on vacation, somebody's still here to keep it alive.
Yeah, the Beverly Koenigs and the Heidi Jenkins, and without them.
The Cutlers, and this land was not easy to cultivate. It was just not easy, and what we could have done with that $10,000, Jen, I'm just thinking, But on the other hand, maybe it wouldn't be as nice if we had that money, and we, it's because we didn't have the money, and we had some talented parents.
Nowadays they call that sustainability.
Yes.
It's like just making it work with what you have and being really thoughtful about your materials.
But here is evidence of sustainability. It has sustained at least 15 years that I know of, because I've been retired for 12.